Happy New Year. Welcome to another episode of Money in the Bank with Frank. And look forward to talking to you throughout the year. I figured at the beginning of the year we should talk about maybe some of these New Year's resolutions. So this is that time in the market cycle where process becomes much more important than picking individual stocks. I'm afraid to say it, but I think this is going to be another bumpy, really uncomfortable year. And the most important thing that we're going to have to work on is our process. I had a conversation this morning with one of my clients who lives in New York City, is in the service industry, and I told him, hey, it's that time of the year again. We're going to talk about some New Year's resolutions. And he laughed. It's like, what a joke, right? You know, everyone puts together a number and then you don't get to that number and then you feel like a failure and then you don't do it again. It's like going to the gym, getting a membership, not working out, feeling like a failure and thinking about doing it again. So process. Instead of thinking about how you don't have, $20,000 in the bank this year in savings, what you need to think about is, what did you do to actually get to a point where you at least have something in the bank, right? So you want to set up a plan, and that plan being, I know that this market is going to be bumpy and I don't want to actually see where it went and how it went. What I want to do is I need to know that I'm putting away an amount of money that at the end of the year, it's more than zero, because otherwise you're just going to spend every dime that you have on whether it's a new thing, a new toy, a new house, something that maybe you don't even need, as opposed to having some cash on the sideline for an emergency like new tires or a new car or back surgery. So I think the most important thing is to really focus on process. This is that part of the year where the market isn't up double digits. Maybe it will be by the end of the year. Who knows? But chances are it won't be. And looking at that red on your statement every month it's not going to help the situation. So focus on putting away the money, following your financial plan. If you've done a financial plan and you don't like it or you're uncomfortable, do it again. This is something that you have to keep your eye on the goal, and you have to readjust and reassess based on what life throws at you. If it was as simple as actually, here's X dollar amount, and this period of time is how long I have, and this is what we are definitely going to make, yeah, that's a much easier equation than the market is all over the place, and I don't know if I'm going to have that money at the end of the year. Save something. That's what we have for today. Thanks.
Well, let's talk about it a little bit. What do you mean by elaborate on processes? So for the layman who's just getting, let's say their New Year's resolution is to develop a process, right? Or to actually think about finances for the first time in their lives. Maybe they've not even considered, they've just gone paycheck to paycheck. They have a savings account. They put whatever they can into it. Now they really want to build out a financial process for themselves.
Well, the first step is really just to come up with a budget, and it's said over and over and over again. And someday I'm going to write a book called 24 Months, because it usually takes at least 2 years for anyone to listen to me. But that in and of itself is a process. At least I recognize that that's how long it takes for someone to actually listen to good advice. It comes down to those controllable variables that you have, right? The controllable variable is that you right now are healthy and you right now are making money. The uncontrollable variable is like what happens if, and you can add in your own ad lib to that. But right now, you know that you have additional income, you should save some of it. It's that simple, right? Most people don't. And the first step in saving that money is creating a budget. This is how much I spend on food. This is how much I spend on fuel. This is how much I spend on my housing. This is how much I spend on my student loans or any other debts. And then this is how much I make. How much you make is probably pretty easy. You can pull out your pay stub and you can take a look and see, are you overspending compared to what you're making or not? Are you utilizing all the tools that are available to you? Do you have student loan forgiveness options? Do you have, 401k or a retirement plan that you can take deductions on? and maybe that's part of your saving plan. But ultimately, you have to have a budget first. You have to see what's coming in and what's going out. And if there's more money coming in than going out, then you should save some of it.
Yeah. So, we just did a video that'll come out soon about introducing the 7 steps of financial planning. The first one is kind of knowing your circumstances, right? Understanding the circumstances of your finances, of your life.
Yeah, those input variables, the ones we were talking about, yeah, in the video are going to be qualitative and quantitative inputs.
So, talking about New Year's, instead of having a goal for a lot of people, like maybe for myself, instead of having a dollar goal, I think a good goal is just to create a budget or stick to a budget, right?
Yeah, create a budget, and if you need help, that's where you can go for your backup with either a financial advisor or a friend that maybe wants to do it along with you. And it doesn't have to be anything other than a catch-up call once a week for a couple of minutes to say, this is what I've done and this is how I've been more productive. What do you think about this? Here's some changes. They've shut down the place for a month and I'm guaranteed a job, but I'm losing a couple of shifts. Here's some different thoughts on that. Just keeping forward progress is critical.
And in my prior history and with a lot of people I know, thinking about that, doing all that seems stressful, but isn't it less stressful than the alternative in the long run?
I love to say when you're doing a financial plan or doing your estate planning, if you think about it now and get it out of the way, you don't have to think about it again until something changes that's substantial enough, right? If you create a will leaving all your money to your parents, you don't have to change it again until you get married, right? Or find a life partner or buy a dog, right?
Right. It's a good way to think about it.
Yeah.
I had something else.
You can't stump me. Come on, you can do it. Use your words.
I lost. How do you recommend keeping track of all this? Like pragmatically, Excel, Mint, like any of these apps. Like if you don't have money for professional.
I have learned that there are just as many free ways to do this as there are fancy ways. Yeah, like you said, there's Mint. I use a spreadsheet to keep track of my own personal budget. I have every month I update the columns, from this obligation, this debt, this income, this amount of money in XYZ investment. Every month I just look at it, reassess it, change it, and it allows me the peace of mind knowing how much I still have or made more, right? So I like the simple ways, but there are some beautiful user interfaces that are free online. Most of the banks out there now have aggregations where you can actually put in, all of your stuff here, and it'll show up your entire nest egg. So yeah, there's tons of ways to skin the cat. Personally, I'm a little more privacy conscious, so I like a spreadsheet, simple spreadsheet.
You don't trust the app?
I'm not going to say that I don't trust the app.
Because you do put in all your information.
Yeah,
like
I mean, they have it. It's just controlling who has access to all of it at once, right? You could use any of the financial services companies, and if you entered every one of them knows, how to market to you. Personally, I'd rather just keep it on a spreadsheet and keep that layer of the onion private to me.
We were talking, I think, before we went live, right, about spending habits.
Mm-hmm.
And are people hardwired a certain way? For example, like, is it a personality trait to want to have the new items, have a new car? Is that something that, obviously, if you can't afford it, you don't do? But even for people who can afford it, should they do that? Because you were telling me about yours and how you approach that.
Yeah, so I don't know. Some people are lucky in life, and never had to make any tough decisions. I came from a background where things were a little harder, so I put more value into experiences than I do in individual stuff. I would rather, spend a little extra and have a nice meal than, uh, have the most up to date phone. But I mean, it's personal preference, right? I think it's a little bit of both nurture and nature. I do have some friends that were born in poverty, but have like a silver spoon personality, and that doesn't generally work out well unless you happen to win the lottery or meet someone who can help fund your experiences. But ultimately, it really depends on just a variety of factors, and I don't think you could pigeonhole just one.
Yeah, that's I've always thought about that because people who come from worse material conditions are hardwired for sure to save, to be frugal. And I have a lot of friends. I grew up in Frisco, right? I have a lot of friends who never dealt with that, who now their parents don't pay for their stuff. They don't have jobs, but they need the new shit.
Oh yeah, I just had a conversation with an old family friend that I hadn't seen in 20 plus years, and they have a child who went off to college, and it was their first semester. And this child, from what I understand, is pretty fiscally responsible, saved, but had never actually spent their own money, just used to spending parents, right? And so when they got this check, it was given to them from their aunt or uncle and said, "Hey, here's some money." And parent said, "This is it. This is all you got." And they went through all that money in that first semester because, of course, I have to decorate my dorm room, right? That's important. Is it as important as having some scratch to go out with? I don't know. So I think it's a life experience. These are all different learning lessons. I feel that the majority of people will suffer the first time that they're after their first job. They realize what things actually cost.
So in preparation for today's shoot, I was thinking about. I was Googling what people are clicking on in terms of financial content, and it's all about 5 top financial New Year's resolutions. 10 top financial New Year's resolutions. I think it'd be fun. Let's go through some of these.
Yeah. Save more. I like that one. Save more.
So this is CNBC.
This is exactly what we basically what we talk about, right? Save more. How about save anything? For what, if you've never saved before, save anything, and you've got 100% goal to what you're supposed to do, and then do more next year, right? Just get in the mindset, do the process, put some money in the bank and leave it there so you have more money than you had before. Save more. What was the second one? Improve my credit score. Yeah. Why? Why do you have a negative credit score? It's because you did that thing we just talked about. You spent more than you were making, and then you couldn't make the payments on it, and so your credit score got dinged up a little bit. So how are you going to improve that? Noble goal. Good luck with that.
How do you do that?
That's a whole segment on its own. I've done that in a previous episode, so people can listen to that, or we can do it again in the future.
Yeah, not a terribly difficult but daunting task for a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure, because no one wants to actually focus on the fact that you screwed up.
I got really lucky, and my brother added me as authorized user to a bunch of his cards, and that's helped me immensely.
Yeah, for sure. That's I just remember when the euro was a big thing right at the very beginning, when you had like Italy, Greece, Portugal, Spain, Germany all together. And it was like, who is the mature older brother who is going to make sure that the others don't blow themselves up? And it was Germany, right? It's like, Process. So it's good to have somebody to help you, to
Yeah.
mentor you.
That's my mature younger brother.
Oh
in
my
this
God, that's
case.
great.
Yep.
That's fantastic.
He learned from my mistakes, as
Oh, that's great.
a lot of good younger siblings do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Number 3,
Create a personal budget. What did we say? Create a budget. Figure out what you have coming in, figure out what you have going out, and try to save the spread or save some part of the spread.
and this is a whole nother topic too, but I feel like as we do these each week, we'll probably cover different aspects of it. So you create a budget, you use Mint, you have some savings each month, you're doing good with it. You put that savings in a savings account to start out with. What do you do?
So, I mean, first step is to make sure there is no debt, right? Because no savings account, like I see the next one of these other ones is like pay off a credit card entirely or pay my credit card debt on time. Ultimately, if you take a look at if you have credit card debt, you need to pay that off before you try to save anything. Because if you're paying 18% on your credit card debt and you're only saving at 2 or 3% in your savings account, you're losing 15%, right? So you have to do those. Like that means you've already screwed up and you're trying to get out of a hole. My hope is for anyone listening to this is that you never get into that situation. If you are in that situation, you have to pay that debt off first. You've got to pay off the unsecured, high interest debt
Fully?
before you put anything away.
Like so credit cards, high interest, let's say like my student loan debt, once that, if they ever start charging that again, put all my savings towards that?
It depends, right? It depends. You can't live your life just paying your debt. You still have to have a life. So I would pay at least the minimum every month. And this goes for whether it's a student loan debt or a credit card as well. And let's say that you have a credit card that you don't always use, or maybe you have very little credit card debt, but you want to make sure you don't ever get your credit score dinged. I put an extra amount of money, whether it's $20 or $100 a month, auto pay directly towards a credit card. That way, if I don't hit it on time, something went into the account, and hopefully it's more than the minimum. That'll keep you from getting dinged on your credit card debt. And that same thing can happen. You can use that for every one of your fixed bills. Like if you have student loan debt, set it up for reoccurring payment on your bank account. That way it automatically comes out. If you have QuickBooks or Quicken or some other program that keeps track of your finances, that'll also help you with your budget. It'll literally do your budget for you.
And that's number 5. Pay my credit card debt on time. Pay my full balance each month.
Yeah. Well, let's try not to have to, well, okay. So I agree with this one, and I actually do like this one a lot. I charge almost everything on a credit card, not a debit card, but on a credit card, because that way you're using someone else's money. You're protected a little more with fraud, not like on your debit card where it's your fault until they figure out how to fix it. The credit card company will actually help you with any fraudulent charges. So I like to use my credit card and use the right card for the right thing. If it's a business expense, use your business card. If it's a personal expense, use your personal card. And yes, pay it off.
Do you have like multiple cards, like a grocery card? The ones that have different kind of rewards.
Yes and no. So I have a corporate credit card that I use for anything business related, right? So whether it's travel or meals or something that has to do with business, that's a corporate card. And then I have a personal card. So again, I prefer personally Amex. So not everyone takes Amex. That means I also have to have another credit card, MasterCard, Visa, for the corporation, and one for me personally, which I use as little as possible. But because I use it so little that some months I won't pay anything or won't charge anything on it, but one month I might charge something on it. I have, $20-$30 go onto it every month out of my checking account just to make sure. And if it's a credit balance, you can always spend the money or you can get it back. But I don't want it to hit my credit. So yes, pay your credit card balances in full each month if possible.
Not open any more credit cards. That's a very case dependent.
So your credit score is going to help and hurt you. You have a bunch of credit cards. It's not going to help you. It's your obligation to income, right? So if you have a ton of credit cards and you owe the IRS, guess what the IRS is going to tell you to do? Use all your available credit from all your credit cards to pay them off. Doesn't sound fair, does it? But
I had no idea.
Yeah. How do you like me now?
No way.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
I know what you're about to say. Hey, let's not open any more credit cards.
I had no idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, hopefully you don't owe them more than you can cover, but
yeah, let's hope not. But I mean, there's always that last electron. You never know. Like you thought, okay, I paid off all my credit cards, but I didn't close them. Guess what?
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Why don't people know? I guess people who have a lot of credit cards should know that.
Well, they may or may not. I mean, it's not everybody that owes the IRS, but you owe that much in credit cards, maybe you do, right? So let's close some of those credit cards.
On that note, check the credit score more often. Check the report more often.
Yeah, I mean, at least once a year. You get one freebie every year, which doesn't count against you in credit and pulling credit. And don't pull it every day. Don't pull it every month. Unless you've got some program that allows you to do it without dinging your credit. Just monitor it. Make sure that no one else is opening credit cards or accounts in your name. They can do that. And the way to catch it is to pull your credit report and see what outstanding lines of credit are out there.
Okay, so on that note, we were talking about Mint. Mint, I can pull it up every day and look at my credit score or their calculation of it. How does that work? Because I hear you get one free report, but even, growing up, I heard checking your score dings your credit.
Yeah, but that's pulling a full credit report, and these guys have all of these big financial services companies have institutional access to the credit reporting agencies, right? They're able to see that, and they can check your score without actually doing the deep dive on your actual report, right? You would actually look at the score and see if it had gone up or down, and if you see a change in something specific, then maybe there's something to
they even tell you like your derogatory marks, where they're at, all that.
Yeah.
So there's no worries on checking that.
Yeah. If you're just looking at Mint, that's no big deal. But it's like if you actually go to freecreditreport.com, not a sponsor, but if they want to be, feel free to reach out to us at the merge. There's if you just keep track of your score, a lot of those freebies will actually keep track of going up or down. If you see, something substantial, then maybe it's time to pull the report.
And then finally, sign up for a credit monitoring or identity theft protection product. Do you talk to your clients about that?
Yeah, it definitely doesn't hurt, especially if you've been the victim of it in the past. That means your information's already out there, so you probably are better off getting one of those. I don't have a specific favorite. If you are paying for one of the premium credit cards, most of them actually have deals and discounts with a service. So, reach out to one of those vendors and get a discount on it. Don't pay full price. Frank doesn't like full price.
There's a New Year's resolution. Never pay. That would be we should do a video where it's a 1-year challenge. We never pay full price for anything, not even gas. How do you not pay full price for gas?
You can always haggle. Look, is that the best you can do? What, are you running a museum here? Everything's a negotiation. Everything's Sohail.
I mean, so have you heard of Nathan For You?
Mm-mm.
The show?
No.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So it's this dude, Nathan Fielder. His intros, he's like, he went to business school and got really good grades. So now for the show, he goes to different businesses and so he goes to different businesses and gives them kind of a consulting, but really creative consulting solutions for their business problems. Let me show you a clip.
Yeah. Oh, I love these guys.
The plan? $1.75 gas after rebate. A rebate will legally allow Daniel to advertise the cheapest gas in the country, and because it would be such a great deal, it would only be fair to make claiming this rebate a bit more inconvenient than normal, by asking customers to drop it off in person at the top of a mountain.
So it's like, give a rebate, really cheap gas, but they have to do a 2-day hike to drop off the rebate. And so all of his episodes are like this, far-fetched ways of improving your business.
Yeah, there's simple ways to haggle and negotiate. I mean, if you go into a big box store, there's like they've got fixed pricing, but you go into some of the smaller stores and you look at there's always wiggle room. There's anybody that's been forced to buy windows for their place knows that there are bids out there, and you get the same product. The question is who's installing it and how much are they warranting it. I've got a great friend who has a small business. He's like, boy, I have an out of sight warranty. What does that mean? Once it's out of sight, there's no warranty.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Right?
No, that brings up a really good question about ethics, right? Like, First of all, in our economy, what isn't a big box store, right? There's, small contractors or small businesses, whatever. Do you really want to haggle with them? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, look, everybody should be paid a fair price, right? I mean, you need to know what your input costs are, and that's how you can tell the difference between a good business person and somebody who's just lucky, right? You have a lot of slippage on brand new technology, and then you've got established products which are effectively a utility, right? A mature business. If you know all the input costs associated with being a farmer, you've got seed, then you've got all this stuff for the seed. Wow, this is a way too complicated one. Okay, so your input costs with chewing gum are a little bit of corn meat, whatever, the cornstarch, and then the gum, and then the packaging, and then the real estate is free at the grocery store. You have a solid model. But if you do something a little more complicated, but you don't know what your input costs are, you're going to get crushed the first time that there's an inflation spike because you're not accounting for what is a variable cost. So that's why I love all those videos, that, like the one you're pointing out there. It's like, yeah, it's a business model. It's all math. It's all numbers, right? Input greater than output number, then you're not going to make it. If you can sell a product for less than you made it, you're going to get the difference. It's that simple.
It's Breaking Bad economics. That's how a lot of young entrepreneurs
I bet
learn the game.
I know. I went to Consensus and I met this guy that was just super fascinating. But yeah, he got his start in crypto doing some shady stuff.
Oh man, crypto. Saying that like crypto isn't shady. I guess it's not inherent.
No.
You see the Logan Paul recent drama?
No, but I mean, look, anything that doesn't have regulation, anything that's brand new, it's hard to regulate, right? I'm going to be really interested to see with these chatbot, the open AI projects, what's going to happen when one of those things breaks bad, for lack of a better term, because somebody tells it what to do. And whatever major hack happens, like, how are they going to prosecute that? That's a whole new disruptor that's going to need a whole new branch of law to deal with it, right? So, yeah, progress is sometimes great. Sometimes it's a little scary.
Yeah, it's always both those things.
Yeah.
But it's good.
That slippage is where that money is made.
You know what it also is? It's inevitable.
Yeah, yep.
Well, any other thought?
No, just as I said before, for the new year, I think if there's anything anyone can take away from this tumultuous, as I expect, year, I I think that you should focus on the process of putting some money away. Now more than ever, it's going to be really important to look at what you're spending and to cut that down, to not borrow on margin, to not borrow on credit cards, because by virtue of the Fed having to raise rates, they're effectively saying that we're going to really hurt the economy. And the first thing that means is losing jobs. And if you lose your job and you have a lot of debt, then you're really in trouble. So just try to get your expenses under control. And with that, Happy New Year.
Awesome. Yeah. We'll be doing these streams every week. So.
Yeah. Good times.
Thank you for watching The Merge. This is all the information you need. Don't watch anything else. Only The Merge. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Hustle, grind, all those things. Like, subscribe, click, like, comment. I don't know what's going on. Somebody save me.